233 The Song family is too snobbish. The sound of running water came from the bathroom again. The mist on the frosted door condensed into droplets of water that slid down silently. Jiang Yi, who couldn't bear to torture her anymore, restrained himself and wrapped a towel around her before carrying her to sit on the sofa. He changed the bedsheets and went to bed with her. As he turned off the lights, he asked in a hoarse voice, "Yulin, do you still want to drink water?" No. Pei Yulin was exhausted. She lay in his arms and closed her eyes. The moment she fell asleep, she was still thinking that her feelings were not wrong. However, when the first ray of sunlight shone down from the sky, a rabbit headwear was put on the top of her head. The box Bai Ying gave her was placed on the edge of the bed. Aluminum bags of different colors were picked up one by Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi, Pei Yulin pushed his shoulder away, her almond-shaped eyes red. She wrapped herself in the blanket and turned her back to him. She looked at the setting sun outside the window and pouted. "I don't want to eat in the bedroom anymore." Her gentle tone made Jiang Yi's heart soften. He suppressed his desire and put the box away in the cabinet. "Shall I carry you to take a shower first?" No. Pei Yulin did not want him to touch her again. She kicked him with her foot. Her strength was soft as if she was playing with him. "I want to eat barbecue. Buy some ingredients online." They had an electric grill at home. Jiang Yi bought 6 or 7 types of meat and vegetables on the app, as well as sauces. He carried Pei Yulin to the bathroom to wash up. While she was soaking in the bathtub, he went to the kitchen to peel garlic. The delivery man delivered the ingredients 20 minutes later. He washed what needed to be washed and placed it on the dining table to barbecue the pork belly first. The fragrance of oil filled the air. Pei Yulin, whose stomach was rumbling, ran to him in a pair of slippers. "Is it done?" She pulled out the chair and sat down. She was craving it. Jiang Yi chuckled. "It's done." He dipped the pork belly in the sauce and gave it to her. "It's very hot. Eat slowly." Pei Yulin dipped the meat in the sauce and took a bite. The taste filled her mouth. She picked up a piece for Jiang Yi. "It's so delicious." Seeing that she was like a hamster eating, Jiang Yi poked her puffed-up cheeks with his fingertips. The gentleness in his eyes seemed to overflow. He ate the meat in one bite and barbecued a few slices of beef to satisfy her taste buds. Towards the end, she didn't want to eat meat anymore. He started barbecuing potatoes. When the potato turned brown, he dipped it in chili powder. The crispy texture coupled with the chili stimulated their appetite again. Only when they couldn't eat anymore did they turn off the grill and put down their chopsticks. "Yulin, walk around the living room for a while." Jiang Yi cleared the dishes on the table. "Otherwise, you'll feel uncomfortable." "Okay." Pei Yulin tiptoed and kissed him. She picked up her phone and walked back and forth in the living room. As she digested her food, she sent a message to her besties group. "Yulin, Lin Jiao, you're right. My feelings are completely wrong." Lin Jiao, as expected, smirk.jpg. "Yulin, I'm so tired. I ate breakfast and lunch in the bedroom and only came out in the evening." Ni meow, rubyinghead.jpg. So how many did you use?" "Yulin, 4 in total. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't experience it myself." "Ni meow, are you alright?" "Yulin, I'm alright, I just don't have much strength left." "Yulin, at Lin Jiao, how many did you use? I'm curious." 6, 2 more than you." Lin Jiao, I don't remember." "Yulin, is his stamina so high?" There is still room for improvement." Lin Jiao, awesome. Shop.jpg. "Isn't your husband not good enough?" Hearing a low voice, Lin Jiao's hand trembled. She met Pei Jai's dangerous eyes, turned off her phone, and hugged his neck. "Good, very good. You're better than anyone else." "Is that so?" He caressed her fair cheek, his slightly curved lips making people terrified. Lin Jiao nodded like a chick pecking at grains. She did not know how much Pei Jai had seen and did not intend to ask further. Instead, she changed the topic. "Can you watch a movie with me?" "I don't want to." "Then what do you want to do?" Pei Jai threw away the paper ball in his palm and found an aluminum bag from the cabinet under the coffee table. He unhurriedly tore it open. "What do you think?" Before Lin Jiao could dodge, her ankle was grabbed and she could not move. After the morning meeting on Monday, Wu Zhuwen called Lin Jiao to the office to talk about the promotion. He held the glass and took 2 sips. "Lin, I've discussed it with Zheng Yi and decided to promote you to the supervisor of the planning department." Lin Jiao was not surprised. She sat down opposite him. Manager Wu, thank you for thinking highly of me, but I don't plan to stay in the planning department anymore. You're resigning? No, I want to transfer to the general administration department. Wu Ziwen was well aware of her ambition and admired her ability, so he wouldn't stop her. When are you planning to be transferred? Early April. Lin Jiao calculated the time. There was only half a month left. I'll have to trouble you to sign it then. It's no trouble. Wu Ziwen smiled and asked for her opinion. Do you have a recommendation for the position of supervisor? How's Ailey? Lin Jiao immediately thought of Ailey. She's considered an old employee. Sure. Wu Ziwen trusted her judgment. He chatted with her about some business matters before asking her to call Ailey in. Lin Jiao walked to her desk and told Ailey about it. She dutifully completed her work for the week and only told Zhuo Yuan about the handover next week on Friday. I'm so envious. When Zhuo Yuan heard the words General Administration Department, her eyes lit up. The salary must be especially high. You're thinking too much. Sun Haoran turned off the computer and packed up the things on the table. The work they are in charge of is different. Lin Jiao bid them goodbye before taking the elevator downstairs. She got into Pei Jai's car and leaned closer to him, kissing him on the lips. What do you want for dinner? Pei Jai held the back of her head and gently rubbed her red lips. There's another fish in the fridge. Let's go to the market and buy some pickled vegetables to cook at home. Sure. He fastened her seatbelt for her. As he started the car, he asked, are you going to the engagement party tomorrow? Lin Jiao nodded. Yes. She adjusted the height of the seat. Do you want to come with me? Forget it. The Song family is too snobbish. If he appeared at the banquet, he would definitely be approached by those people. He found it troublesome and felt that they were not worthy of even talking to him. 234 They are not qualified. Lin Jiao had never interacted with the Song couple, but she had heard of their style of doing things. Then pick me up at 9 o'clock. She turned sideways and stared at that face that made one's heart flutter. Pei Jai nodded. Okay. He drove in the direction of the market. Have you prepared a gift? No. Lin Jiao took out a bottle of juice from the glove compartment and took 2 sips. I'll buy it tomorrow afternoon. So casual. My relationship with Songjin isn't that good anyway. Pei Jai pinched her face and smiled. But you represent the Lin family. Being reminded by him, she remembered that Lin Hongyuan and the Song couple knew each other. This time, she was not the only one invited. I'll ask. She called Lin Hongyuan. When she heard that they were not going, she said, Dad, what do you think I should send? Calligraphy, painting, or vase? He always sent people these kinds of things as a gift. Come back tomorrow and pick one. There's still some left in the storeroom. Sure. It just so happened that she couldn't be bothered to go and buy a gift. The next day, Lin Jiao chose the cheapest calligraphy from the storeroom and went to the wedding venue. She met up with Pei Yulan at the door and walked side by side to the elegant hall. The palace-style chandelier hung in the hall, and everywhere one looked, there were petals of roses everywhere. The guests who came together carried gifts to congratulate the Song and Yuan families. They either flattered or fawned on them, or chatted sincerely or hypocritically. Lin Jiao had no intention of joining the crowd. Songjin. Lin Jiao slowly walked up to him and gave him a congratulatory gift. Happy engagement. Thank you. Songjin's lips curled up slightly. He was wearing a black suit and his hair was carefully styled. He looked mature. Sister Jiao, aren't Uncle Lin and the others here? They can't come because they have something on. Lin Jiao smiled. Where's your fiancée? I don't know where she is. Brother Jin. A fake cute voice came from his right. Who are these two? Yuan Tong sized Lin Jiao and Pei Yulan up secretly, her gaze lingering on Lin Jiao's face as if she was thinking about something. Songjin, who was held by her, frowned slightly. He suppressed his impatience as he introduced Lin Jiao and Pei Jai. Your surname is Pei? Yuan Tong shifted her gaze away as her eyes flickered. The Pei family from the east of the city. Pei Yulan shook her head. No, I see. Her expression changed slightly, and her tone was not as kind as before. Brother Jin, my friend is still waiting for us over there. Songjin understood what she meant. He picked up a glass of red wine before being led away. Jiao Jiao. Pei Yulan lowered her voice. His fiancée is too snobbish. I can tell. Lin Jiao found an empty sofa and sat down. Fortunately, they don't know you. The Pei family protected her very well. Other than the aristocratic families and friends she was especially familiar with, no one else knew about her identity. They are not qualified to know me either. Pei Yulin hated snobbish people the most since she was young. She glanced at the Song couple's flattering smile and clicked her tongue. No wonder the Song couple wants her to be their daughter-in-law. They are birds of a feather. Lin Jiao chuckled. Indeed. She sat casually with her back against the sofa. No matter how noisy the surroundings were, she was not affected at all. Perhaps because of this, she attracted the attention of many people. Yuan Tong's biological brother, Yuan Teng, was one of them. He asked Yuan Tong about it. When he found out that she was the daughter of the Lin family, he revealed a smug smile. Miss Lin. Before the other men could approach her, he approached the sofa. Can we get to know each other? Lin Jiao rejected him bluntly. No, she couldn't stand his gaze and frowned. She was like a rose with thorns. Instead of feeling discouraged, Yuan Teng was more excited to get to know her. He sat down on the other end. I heard from Yuan Tong that you've known my brother-in-law for a long time. Why? Just asking. Do you have a boyfriend? Lin Jiao placed her left hand between her knees. Yes. The diamond on her ring reflected a faint light, and Yuan Teng saw it clearly at a glance. However, he had no intention of giving up. After all, this was not the first time he had attempted to break up a couple. Miss Lin, do you know how to dance? He offered his hand and tried to close the distance between them. No. Then I'll teach you. Pei Yulin said, are you very free? She put down her cup with a bang. Young Master Yuan, I advise you not to ask for trouble. The way she emphasized the word young Master Yuan was mixed with mockery towards him, and it was especially ear-piercing. Yuan Teng's expression changed slightly. Since they were friends, he couldn't flare up. He said shamelessly, if I can get into trouble for her, I'll be happy to do it. Do you know how to spell the word shameless? Pei Yulin retorted bluntly. The moment the atmosphere became tense, Ji Yuquan sat calmly beside Lin Jiao with a glass of wine. He looked at Lin Jiao, pretending not to see Yuan Teng. Jiao, when did you arrive? For a while. Have you had dinner? Yes. Lin Jiao deliberately ignored Yuan Teng, not wanting to waste her breath. Why aren't you talking to Songjin? Just had 2 drinks with him. Brother Quan. Yuan Teng swallowed his anger and tried to make his presence known. You didn't bring a girlfriend. I'm single. Do you want me to introduce you to someone? No. Ji Yuquan clinked glasses with Lin Jiao and Pei Yulin and chatted about something Yuan Teng couldn't participate in. I saw Xiao Hua in the afternoon. At the mention of Xiao Hua, Lin Jiao could clearly see its appearance in her mind. She asked with concern, how is it doing now? She's gained a lot of weight. He smiled. They were fighting when I passed by. Did Xiao Bai get beaten up again? Yes, it's used to being beaten up. Who is Xiao Hua and Xiao Bai? Pei Yulin found the names familiar, but she could not remember. Ji Yuquan said, the cats we fed in the past. His tone was very natural. Jiao should have told you. You even bought them canned cat food, Lin Jiao reminded Pei Yulin, trying to jog her memory. Do you remember now? I remember now. Pei Yulin had fed them a few times when she went to Lu Fu Bei to accompany Lin Jiao. Do they have kittens together? I heard from the auntie next door that Xiao Bai is with the cat raised by the supermarket owner. So Xiao Hua is abandoned? Not necessarily. Lin Jiao took 2 sips of the wine. I think Xiao Bai likes Xiao Hua. She's probably just a friend with the cat from the supermarket. 235 Her diary. Her exceptionally serious expression made Ji Yuquan laugh. Are you guys free tomorrow? His voice made both of them look at him at the same time. Let's go take a look at them together. I'm afraid not tomorrow. Another time. Pei Yulin had to visit the filming crew tomorrow and was not free. We have been quite busy recently. Okay. Ji Yuquan was not in a hurry. When he looked at Lin Jiao, Yuan Teng happened to see the gentleness in his eyes. Brother Quan. He sensed that something was wrong and subconsciously wanted to confirm his thoughts. Where did you raise the cats? Near my house. I see. Ji Yuquan looked at him. Even if he did not speak, the other party could feel the warning. He raised his chin to his left. Uncle Song seems to be looking for you. Aren't you going over? Yuan Teng left unhappily. He originally wanted to ask Songjin about it, but there were too many guests around, so he could only give up and chat with them. Brother Quan. Tang Mangsh, who was also on the invitation list, arrived late. She was wearing a heavy gauze dress as she ran towards them. Like a butterfly that had found its habitat, she could not hide her smile and said, "I've been looking for you for a long time." Ji Yuquan's gentleness was replaced by annoyance. He moved closer to Lin Jiao and tried to distance himself from Tang Mangsh. "Are you alone? My parents are here too." She pointed at the middle-aged couple talking to the Song couple and said, "Tang Ni is sleeping at home." Lin Jiao and Pei Yulan were stunned when they heard Tang Ni's name. They secretly sized up Tang Mangsh. "Isn't Ni at Bo Yu Club?" Pei Yulan lowered her voice. Lin Jiao gave her a look. "Don't be anxious." She took the initiative to ask casually, "Is it Tang Ni from Lin University?" No, seeing that they were friends with Ji Yuquan, Tang Mangsh's attitude was good. "We only came to Lin City at the end of last year." "Are you talking about your relatives?" "My sister." She forgot to hide her disgust for a moment when she talked about Tang Ni. "She's just my half-sister." Lin Jiao did not ask further. She looked at Mr. Song, who was speaking on stage. When he finished his speech with a thank you, Lin Jiao said goodbye to Ji Yuquan. "I'll send you out." Ji Yuquan followed the two of them and walked to the elevator unhurriedly. He didn't step into the elevator, but stared at the fading smile. "Be careful on your way back." The moonlight wrapped around the two figures as they walked away from the wedding banquet hall that was filled with insincerity. In the early hours of the morning, the lights were still on in the villa in Fulu Bay. Ji Yuquan, who was drunk, unbuttoned his collar and returned to his room to take a shower. Ever since Su Tian was chased out, he had gotten someone to disinfect the house from inside out. The matter of renovating the master bedroom was also brought forward. So during this period of time, he had been staying in Lin Jiao's previous room and even moved his clothes over. He came out with a towel wrapped around him. Just as he lay down on the soft bed, the phone on the bedside table vibrated. He picked up immediately. "Who is this?" "Quan, it's me." Su Tian's sobbing voice came from the receiver. "Can you help me? I can't hold on anymore. I'm busy." "Only you can, Miss Su." Ji Yuquan interrupted her. He didn't have the energy to continue arguing with her. "If you harass me again, I'll call the police." With that, he hung up. Su Tian, who was hiding in the washroom, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and tried again, but the call did not go through. "You're not done yet?" A male voice came from outside the door, scaring her so much that she subconsciously shivered. "I'm done." She quickly turned off the screen and looked at the man with tears in her eyes. "I'm not feeling well." "Where?" "My arms and legs hurt." "It's fine. It's not gonna kill you." He held her waist and walked out, approaching the other man sitting on the sofa. The sound of crying and moaning filled the cramped environment. Next time, she endured the pain and walked to the elevator door in a dejected mood. "Why are you so slow?" Xiao Song stubbed out his cigarette and looked at her with disdain and impatience. Perhaps because she really couldn't take it anymore, Su Tian cried about everything that happened last night and begged, "I want to rest for a few days." In the past 2 weeks, the clients she met seemed to come with the intention of torturing her to death, each one more ruthless than the last. She couldn't take it anymore. "There's another client tonight." Xiao Song did not intend to let her rest immediately. "You can rest after accompanying him." "How can I accompany him in this state?" "He won't mind." Su Tian bit her lower lip and wished she could buy a plane ticket to escape Lin City and never come back. She took a deep breath. "Then how long can I rest?" 3 days. "Can you add 2 more days?" "No." Xiao Song tapped his fingers on the screen and sneered. "Don't play tricks on me." Su Tian did not dare to say anything and sat silently at the side. She followed Xiao Song's instructions and changed into a dress as the sun set. Then, she went to another starred hotel with him. The sun rose and the long night ended. After getting a chance to rest, she returned to her apartment and slept until evening. Unwilling to give up, she headed to Lu Fu Bay. "Miss Su, are you here to look for Mr. Ji Yu?" The nanny stood at the door and did not let her in. "Is he at home?" "Yes, please wait a moment." She went upstairs to inform Ji Yuquan before coming back down and telling her apologetically, "Mr. Ji Yu wants you to go back." The smile on Su Tian's lips became even more bitter. She blocked the door that was about to close. "Tell him that I have Lin Jiao's diary." Just as she had expected, Ji Yuquan appeared in front of her for a diary that belonged to Lin Jiao. He walked straight to the stone table in the yard and sat down opposite her. "Where's the diary?" I have one condition. Tell me. His cold expression shattered Su Tian's last illusion. Even her dream of being a rich wife had been dashed. She just wanted to get out of this place where she'd been tortured. I want 10 million. Do you think I am a magician who can turn paper into money? I know you have money. Yes, I have. Ji Yuquan paused for a moment. He was not led by the nose like she thought. But I won't give it to you. Don't you want to know what she wrote? It's not important. He took out his cigarette box. My relationship with Jiao Jiao has recovered a lot. I can ask her directly if I'm curious. I don't believe you. Su Tian tried to find traces of lying on his face. Since it's not important, why did you come out? Is there a problem with me helping Lin Jiao take back what's hers? Ji Yuquan raised his eyebrows. His emotions really did not change. He held the cigarette in his mouth. Forget it if you don't want to give it to me. Seeing that he was about to leave, Su Tian panicked. 236 Jiao Jiao, forgive me. 3 million. She offered for another price, her eyes pitiful. I really need money now. A diary isn't worth that much. Then give me a price. 100,000. If not for the fact that he wanted to get the diary, Ji Yuquan would not even want to give her a single cent. If you don't want it, then forget it. The price he offered was really surprising. Only then did Su Tian realize that she could not control him. She calculated her savings in her mind. Taking away the air ticket and the rent, she could only live a good life for a month. However, she had no other choice. Sure. Su Tian unzipped her bag and handed him the property ownership certificate of the apartment. But you have to help me sell the house. I don't have time. Get your secretary to do it. The streets are full of real estate agents. Go and get one for yourself. Ji Yuquan did not want to have anything to do with her in the future. His unwillingness to back down made Su Tian heartbroken. She pulled back her hand. The diary is under her bed. Ji Yuquan asked the housekeeper to go upstairs to look for it. When the housekeeper found the dusty diary, he transferred the money to her. He stubbed out his cigarette. You got it? Yes. Su Tian grabbed her cell phone and stood up. She looked into his eyes. Quan, I'm leaving. Bye. I'm saying I'm going overseas. She took 2 steps forward, looking reluctant to part with him. I might not come back in the future. Whether you come back or not has nothing to do with me. Ji Yuquan returned indifferently and closed the door. In the end, he did not even look at her. Sir, it's wiped clean. The housekeeper wiped the cover of the diary twice with a wet tissue and handed it to him with both hands. Ji Yuquan took it. Thank you. He drank the red wine poured by the housekeeper and opened the diary with trembling fingers. The 6th of April, on our first day in love, we went to watch a movie. I don't like the movie he chose, but I like him. The 6th of May, we've been in love for a month. I accidentally sprained my ankle. It's very tiring for him to carry me to the class. I hope I get better soon. The 6th of July, he gave me 99 roses to celebrate our 3-month anniversary. The 6th of September, we've been in love for 5 months. My period was brought forward. He went to buy me sanitary pads in his pajamas. When he came back, I blushed. The 6th of December, 8 months into our relationship, he had a high fever. When I heard him call my name over the phone, I couldn't help but cry. The 6th of February, 10 months. At this moment, 2 years of memories appeared in front of him. When Ji Yuquan flipped to the last page, tears slid down from the corners of his eyes and landed quietly on the paper, staining her beautiful handwriting. He sat on the sofa in a daze for a long time before returning to the bedroom to put on his coat. He hurriedly went out and got into the car. The radio in the car was playing the song called Favorite. A gentle female voice accompanied him to Mingxin Mansion. Ji Yuquan got out of the car with red eyes and went to Unit 9 as quickly as he could. He knocked on the door of the apartment on the right on the 8th floor. Jiao Jiao. He kept calling her name, each word filled with regret and affection. He did not get a response for a long time. Since his number was blocked, he could only contact Songjin to help. The sensor lights went on and off. He leaned against the wall and stared at the screen. Finally, 5 minutes later, he received a WeChat message with Lin Jiao's location. Red Maple Forest was not far from Mingxin Mansion. With overwhelming anticipation, he pressed the doorbell. Ding dong. The doorbell rang twice, and the person he couldn't wait to see finally appeared. What's wrong? Lin Jiao met his teary eyes and could not figure out what he was up to. The moment Ji Yuquan saw her, he felt even more regretful. He held her hand tightly, his hoarse voice filled with pleading. Jiao Jiao, forgive me, okay. Forgive you for what? Forgive me for what I've done in the past. I didn't cherish you and hurt you, but I'll change. I won't let you suffer again. Smelling alcohol, Lin Jiao suspected that he had drunk too much. She broke free from his grip and reminded him calmly, Ji Yuquan, I have a boyfriend. I know. If you know, why are you still saying this? Ji Yuquan looked at her with a burning gaze. I've tried to let you go, but I can't do it. I can't watch others have you. If not for the diary, he might have chosen to take it step by step and get closer to her slowly. However, he did not want or dare to do so now. He was afraid that that person would steal her heart and get all her love. Win Fei. A deep voice interrupted Lin Jiao's thoughts. Pei Jai held Lin Jiao and retreated. He glanced at Ji Yuquan provocatively. This is, when that familiar face came into view, Ji Yuquan's mind buzzed and he was stunned. He never expected Lin Jiao's boyfriend to be the president of Xinheng. In the midst of his indescribable emotions, he felt hurt by their intimate posture. How did you two meet? Ji Yuquan asked. We're college alumni. No wonder. Pei Jai hung the towel on his broad shoulder. Come in and sit for a while. Even though he was wearing a bathrobe, his noble aura did not diminish at all. He easily outshone Ji Yuquan. If it were anyone else, Ji Yuquan might have a chance of winning, but not against Pei Jai. No need. Ji Yuquan smiled bitterly. His enthusiasm was completely extinguished, and he regained his rationality. I'm sorry to disturb you, Pei Jai said. It's fine. He held the door handle and touched her cheek when he closed the door. Wifey, shall we continue? With a click, the door closed. His especially ambiguous words were directed at the person outside the door. Don't give me that. Lin Jiao pushed his shoulder away, a smile flashing across her eyes. Did you hear what he said just now? I heard him. He led her back to the living room and took 2 sips of water. He regrets it. Are you jealous? Would you believe me if I said I wasn't? I would. Lin Jiao knelt on the sofa and wiped his hair. Did you already guess what he was going to say when you asked me to send him the location? Sort of. Pei Jai looked up. He came to look for you so late at night. I can't think of anything else other than wanting to get back together with you. He rubbed the soft flesh on her waist. The calluses on his fingers were like electric currents, making her skin tingle. Lin Jiao pulled his hand away. Don't move. She wiped the water off his hair. I guess he won't come looking for me again. That's for the best. If Ji Yuquan came to disturb them again, it would be insensible. 237 Su Tian was locked in a mental hospital. Ji Yuquan returned home dejectedly. Songjin, who was worried about him, rushed over and sat on the carpet with him to drink. Who do you think Sister Jiao's boyfriend is? Pei Jai. Pei Jai from Xinheng Corp. Yes. Ji Yuquan gulped down 2 mouthfuls of wine, wanting to suppress the bitterness in his heart. He called her wifey. They were very loving. Only then did Songjin come back to his senses from the shocking news. He placed his hand on Ji Yuquan's shoulder. Brother Quan, I know you feel terrible, but there's no turning back. Why not? She's not married yet. It's only a matter of time before they get married. He took out 2 cigarettes from his cigarette box. You haven't seen Pei Jai's interview, right? What interview? The reporters asked him about his relationship. He said that he had a crush on his girlfriend for 4 years. At that time, the interview was even trending. Ji Yuquan was stunned. For years? He thought about the past carefully. So they've known each other for a long time. You've never seen him before? No. I guess they met through Yulin. Songjin understood after thinking for a moment. But none of that matters anymore. The person he had a crush on for 4 years had finally become his girlfriend. He wouldn't let go of her easily, let alone give others a chance. However, Ji Yuquan still had hope and was unwilling to wait. He drank 2 bottles of beer in a row, his eyes redder than before. Songjin, I can't let go. As long as he thought of how sweet they used to be, his heart felt like it was being clenched. Even if you can't let go, you have to. Songjin was usually frivolous, but at the critical moment, he was clear-headed. He said with a serious expression, Brother Quan, don't even think about snatching her from Pei Jai. If he gets angry, not to mention you, but even the GU Corporation will be skinned alive. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. GU Kwan was not stupid. Don't worry, I've never thought of snatching her from him. He would become better and stronger. If she wanted to come back to him one day, he would definitely give her everything. But he did not know that she was never going to come back. The starless night was as dark as ink. Lin's City Airport was brightly lit. The cold white light dispelled the loneliness and shone on the few tourists. There were too few direct flights in the morning. Sutian booked a flight to Madrid at 4 o'clock. Madrid was Xiao Song's territory. She did not dare to stay for too long, so she booked a high-speed train from Madrid to Barcelona. She had 2 old acquaintances in Barcelona. As long as she found them and got their protection, she did not have to worry too much about her future. At the thought of the beautiful life ahead, the worry in Sutian's heart was replaced by joy. Unfortunately, she was happy too early. Miss Su. 2 burly men stopped in front of her, blocking her way. Please come back with us. They were like an uncrossable mountain that stood in front of her, blocking the freedom she yearned for. Sutian broke out in a cold sweat. You're mistaken. She refused to admit her identity and subconsciously wanted to walk around the 2 of them. You know best if we're mistaken or not. One of the burly men grabbed her arm, not giving her a chance to quibble. He was so strong that Sutian could not break free at all. She could only shout for help. She looked at the airport lobby with teary eyes. Her throat was hoarse from shouting, but no one appeared. Shut up! The burly man pushed her into the car and slammed the door. If you continue howling, I'll kill you. Sutian hunched down and sobbed. She could not withstand Xiao Song's anger. At the thought of what would happen next, she was extremely afraid. Big brother. She took out a bank card and handed it to him shakily. There's 200,000 yuan here. Can you let me go? Do you think we haven't seen money before? The burly man rubbed the sharp dagger in front of her. His warning was very strong. Sutian, who still wanted to live, naturally did not dare to say anything. She sat in the back seat with trepidation, her mind racing as she tried to come up with countermeasures. We're here. The car was parked in a wasteland. When Sutian, who was pulled out of the car, realized that they were in a remote place, her face turned visibly pale. Her legs were trembling. Where are we? Can't you see those big words? The burly man glared at her and pointed at the building opposite. On the building that was about 6 to 7 floors tall, there were 2 eye-catching words. Mental hospital. Before Sutian could react, she was carried to the 2nd floor by the burly man and thrown to the female nurse. She looked at the hospital gown on the stool and realized that something was wrong. She asked, "What do you mean?" The burly man put on a soft expression. "Miss Su, it's not a good thing to avoid treatment. Since you're here, rest well. I'm not sick. Why do I need treatment?" She shouted at the top of her lungs and glared at him. Yes, yes, yes. You're not sick, but I am. You know, hurry up and take me away. I don't want to stay in this lousy place for a minute. The burly man looked at her with even more pity. He turned to the nurse and said, "Her disease is acting up again. Please keep an eye on her and don't let her fool around." "All right." After yawning, the nurse smiled kindly at them. "Don't worry, I'll definitely take good care of her." The burly man nodded. "Then we'll get going first." The sound of footsteps mixed with angry curses echoed in the empty corridor. Sutian, who was locked in the ward, kept banging on the door until dawn. Before she could rest, she was dragged downstairs for a walk. The playground was filled with lunatics running around. Their blue and white striped clothes were especially eye-catching under the sun. They were either learning how to fly a kite, speaking to the high wall, cursing, counting leaves, white clouds, or people in the playground. "Demon, I'll subdue you." A man holding a piece of white paper rushed up to Sutian and pressed it against her head. He used a lot of strength. Sutian, who was unprepared, staggered back and almost hit the tree trunk. "Are you crazy?" After saying that, she realized that the other party was indeed crazy. "Get lost and leave me alone. I'll subdue you." "What's wrong with you, idiot? I'll subdue you," he repeated, pasting a note on her head. Sutian was driven crazy by him. "Get lost." She kicked him in the knee and he fell to the ground. When his fellows saw him being bullied by the demon, they rushed forward to paste a note on her forehead. They did not know how to control their strength, so their actions were more like knocking. Sutian, who was outnumbered, felt her ears ring after being knocked a few times. She was tortured to the point of crying and howling. Her entire body was covered in dirty white notes and she was in an extremely sorry state. However, the playground was noisy, so the nurse did not notice her being bullied. 238 Please take me back. Sutian. The nurse pushed open the door of the ward and knocked on the table twice. Someone is here to see you. Sutian looked up. After living in the mental hospital for half a month, she looked much more haggard, like a withering daffodil. At the urging of the nurse, she went to the office. When she saw the familiar figure, her eyes lit up. Song. She knelt at his feet, tears streaming down her face. I know I was wrong. Can you take me back? Xiao Song asked the chauffeur to wait at the door. He raised Sutian's chin and slapped her cheek. You don't want to go abroad anymore? Not only was Sutian not angry at being slapped, but she also hugged his leg like she was holding onto a life-saving boat. No. She looked at him with red and swollen eyes. Master, I'll never leave you again. Xiao Song sneered. It's too late to say that. He looked down and gestured for her to let go. I can't protect you now. What do you mean? I'm not the one who sent you in. He played with the lighter. Do you understand? Sutian was stunned. If not you, then who? Don't you know who you've offended? I didn't offend anyone. She moved forward and pressed herself against his suit pants. Don't scare me. I really don't want to go abroad anymore. I don't have to waste. Xiao Song tapped his cigarette. Your apartment is sold. How much did you sell? 900,000. He stubbed out his cigarette and looked down at her. I'll take this money and extend the contract for another 2 years. 2 years, you're not willing? No. Sutian met his dark eyes and shook her head repeatedly. I'm just curious. Why extend it for 2 years? Xiao Song glanced at her indifferently and did not respond. He picked up the cell phone on the table and walked out. Before opening the door, he said, enjoy it. You can continue paying your debt in 2 years. A warm wind blew into the office, but Sutian, who was kneeling on the ground, did not feel any warmth. She even felt cold. She was like a puppet whose soul had been taken away. She even forgot how she was dragged to the playground by the nurse. The mentally ill people were playing around in pairs. The Taoist priest who wanted to subdue her last time came again. She knew very well that this was only the beginning. She could not escape. At the end of May, Lin City was at the beginning of summer. The scorching sun passed through the clouds and attacked every corner with the wind wrapped in heat waves. The YL dessert shop on Sycamore Street was doing well. Pei Yulin helped the employees pack the boxes before sitting at the round table in the corner to do some accounting. She tapped on the calculator so seriously that she did not even notice Lin Jiao walking over. Boss Pei. Lin Jiao put down the plastic bag and pulled out a chair to sit down. Your rice noodles are here. Pei Yulin, who was distracted, looked up in the direction of the voice and forgot the number she wanted to write down. She shoved the paperwork aside and took the pair of chopsticks with a smile. I wanted to ask you just now, but I was so busy that I forgot. Are there many customers in the morning? It's all right. She rolled up a mouthful of rice noodles. It's probably because it just opened. They're all here for the half-price discount. It's normal. Lin Jiao smiled. The dessert chef here is quite good. You'll definitely have a lot of repeat customers in the future. I think so too. Pei Yulin swallowed the beef in her mouth and asked the employee to pour 2 glasses of water. The topic changed quickly from YL to the general manager's office and then to Songjin. I heard that they are playing their own games now. She wiped the oil off her lips. Yuan Tong even hung out with a male model some time ago. She cheated on him? I think it's possible. There were many marriages in name only. Lin Jiao felt that it was normal. After all, not everyone was so lucky to be able to do what they wanted and marry someone they loved. I'll go back first. She threw the tissues on the table into the trash can. Go in and sleep for a while. YL had a lounge. Although it was not big, there was still room for a bed. All right. Pei Yulin stretched her body lazily. Lin Jiao had been working in the general manager office for more than a month and was much closer to her colleagues than before. She passed by the office and greeted her colleagues who were still awake before walking straight to the president's office. Wifey. Pei Jai, who was sitting in the office chair, reached out and pulled her into his arms. He kissed her forehead. Is it hot outside? It's hot. Lin Jiao unbuttoned her shirt, revealing her red collarbone. It's all your fault. I can't wear a dress. Not only her collarbone, but her arms and legs were also branded with a kiss mark. At the thought of the madness last night, Pei Jai's gaze became dark. He pushed open her collar and caressed her skin with his calloused hand. The air-conditioned room is very cold. You'll feel cold if you wear a dress. But I want to go out. Then why don't you wear a long dress? Pei Jai carried her to the lounge. Or do you want to put on a sweater over your dress? I'll go home and take a look at the closet tonight. Lin Jiao lay on the soft bed with him and relaxed. She touched his lips. Good afternoon kiss. Good girl. Pei Jai stroked her long hair and suppressed the evil thoughts in his heart before falling asleep with her in his arms. 239 Marry Me. After taking a good nap, Lin Jiao stood in front of the full-length mirror to tidy up and touch up her lipstick. She looked up at Pei Jai. Hubby, kiss me. Her red lips were slightly pouted. As soon as he approached, he could smell the sweet fragrance, making his heart skip a beat. Pei Jai tasted the sweetness that belonged to her. His hand on her waist rubbed against her skin through her shirt. Let's eat outside tonight. He pulled her into his arms and opened the door. Lin Jiao walked out. All right. She stood on her tiptoes and kissed him on the cheek, leaving a kiss mark. I'll get going first. There were more things to do here than the planning department. After a period of learning, she could deal with many problems, but she still needed to hone her skills. Once a person entered a busy state, time slipped like quicksand. When the sun set, Pei Jai came out of the president's office and stood in front of her desk, waiting for her to clean up the table. He got off work on time every day and did not advocate for employees to work overtime, so as soon as they left, the others went downstairs one after another. Are you tired? He held her hand and led her to the parking lot. A little. Then sleep for a while. I'll call you when we get there. Lin Jiao closed her eyes to rest for 20 minutes. The tiredness in her eyes was dispelled by the soothing music. At the end of the last song, she took his arm and walked into the television tower. They rode up in the elevator. The Western restaurant on the top floor was ranked in the top 5 on Lin City's restaurant list, but strangely, there was not a single customer in the entire hall. Hubby, did you book the entire venue? Lin Jiao spread out a napkin and placed it on the edge of the table. She took the towel from the waiter to wipe her hands. Pei Jai took off his glasses. Yes, their business is too good. I find it noisy. If it was in the past, Lin Jiao would definitely suspect something. However, after interacting with him for a long time and having full trust in him, she did not think too much about it. She rested her chin on her palm and looked at the piano not far away. As she admired the music, she waited for the appetizers to be served. When the abalone soup, foie gras, and clam salad were served, a faint fragrance spread and brushed past their noses. Pei Jai knew that she did not like to wait, so he informed the person in charge of the restaurant in advance and asked the 2 chefs to prepare the meal at the same time. When they finished the foie gras, the remaining main dishes were served one after another. I'm so stuffed. Lin Jiao stared at the desserts on the table, hesitation flashing across her eyes. But it'll be a waste if I don't eat it. She was still holding the silver spoon in her hand, her curly eyelashes fluttering. Pei Jai saw how she wanted to eat but couldn't. He chuckled. Should I get them to pack? That works too. Lin Jiao asked the waiter to pack the food up. Hubby, rub my stomach for me. She moved to his right and sat down. Pei Jai rubbed her bulging stomach gently with his warm palm. He stared at that fair face and stroked it. When it was about time, he retracted his left hand. Shall we go to the private room to take a look? What's there to see in the private room? Night view. The sky was not completely dark yet, but the buildings outside the French windows already lit up with a dazzling light. Although Lin Jiao was not afraid of heights, she still did not dare to get too close to the French window. She felt insecure. She leaned on Pei Jai's shoulder and looked into the distance. Suddenly, she was attracted by the flashing white light. They rose into the night sky and maintained the same height as the floor-to-ceiling window. In the end, they turned into 2 hands. The hand that looked similar to Pei Jai's held a diamond ring condensed from white light and approached the other slender hand. Right on the heels of that, 2 words appeared. Marry me. Jiao Jiao. A deep voice sounded, like an electric current that entered Lin Jiao's heart. She felt her heart beating like a drum and turned around under the refraction of countless white lights. Page-Eye knelt on one knee in front of her, holding a square box with a round diamond ring in his well-defined hand. Like a loyal knight, he willingly submitted to her. "Are you willing to marry me?" Even though she had imagined this marriage proposal scene many times, Lin Jiao's eyes were still red. She met his gaze and thought again of their daily interactions over the years, as well as the details that could not be ignored. Lin Jiao reached out her left hand. "I am." She looked at the ring being put on her ring finger and couldn't help but cry. "Don't cry." Page-Eye kissed the corner of her eye. His heart felt as sweet as being soaked in honey. It was so sweet that he was willing to indulge in it. He pressed his lips against her forehead and moved his lips down from the tip of her nose to cover her lips. As their lips connected, the fragrance of cypress and hot breath assaulted her. Lin Jiao could clearly hear the words that came out of his mouth. He said, "I love you." She narrowed her eyes and smiled as a tear slid down her face. "I love you too." 246.29 carats. When they returned to Red Maple Forest, all the circles in Lin City knew about the drone proposal. Even the group chat was discussing it. Yulan, picture. Yulan, look at how romantic his proposal is. Learn from him. Shen Yu, at Yi, she's hinting at you. Landlord, are you guys proposing? At Juyanshan, at Page-Eye. Yi, at Shen Yu, got it. You, it's not Juyanshan. I'm at home with him. Wild Cricket, picture. He posted a picture to tell them who was proposing. In an instant, everyone tagged Page-Eye and Lin Jiao. After congratulating them, they set a time to gather together. Page-Eye set the time to Friday evening. After confirming the location, he led Lin Jiao into the bathroom. He pressed against her soft body and listened to her intermittent moans. Under the dim yellow light, the diamond ring emitted a hazy glow. Lin Jiao hugged his neck like a vine. She could not bear to let go even when she lay on the soft blanket. She took 2 sips of the water he fed her and pursed her lips. "Hubby, when are we going to register our marriage?" "The 20th of June. All right." Lin Jiao stroked his sexy Adam's apple, her eyes curved. "Have you told your parents about the proposal?" "I did." He turned off the night light at the head of the bed and pulled her into his arms. "I'll arrange for our families to meet next Saturday." He had always been reliable. Lin Jiao trusted him with everything and slowly fell asleep in his arms. The temperature rose again on Friday. Even though they were gathered in the summer resort, they could still feel the heat wave in the air. The cicadas hiding in the grass and trees let out high-pitched cries, covering the sound of footsteps. Chu Yaju established a relationship with Tang Ni last Wednesday. When they appeared together, they were filled with a love vibe. He held her hand and sat down. "Brother Pei, when do you plan to hold the wedding?" "At the end of the year." Page-Eye handed him a cigarette. "About November or December." "Where?" "I'm not sure yet. We'll decide next Saturday with our families." Lin Jiao leaned on his shoulder. Hearing them talk about the wedding, her heart felt like it was wrapped in spring water. The ring on her ring finger attracted Pei Yulan, who was holding Jian Yi's hand. "Jiao Jiao, how many carats is this diamond ring?" 6.29 carats. "Isn't that your birthday?" She touched the diamond, her almond-shaped eyes filled with envy. "Yes." It was also the day when Page-Eye fell in love with her. Lin Jiao and Page-Eye looked at each other and could not stop smiling. She interlocked her fingers with his and caressed the veins on the back of his hand. Page-Eye's gaze landed on Question Xiao. "Ask Shenyi and the others where they are." Question Xiao sent a message in the group chat. After getting a reply, he told them and picked up the menu to take a look. In less than 5 minutes, a few figures appeared in the private room one after another, making the atmosphere even livelier. "The pool nearby looks pretty good." Shenyi picked up a piece of brisket and put it in his mouth. "Shall we go for a swim tonight?" "Sure." "Do they have swimsuits here?" "I think so." Page-Eye put on disposable gloves and peeled off the shell of the crayfish. He placed the prawn meat in a porcelain bowl. "Hubby, stop peeling." Lin Jiao tugged at his sleeve and put food into his bowl. "I'll just eat too." He slowly took off his gloves. Question Xiao, who was sitting opposite him, suddenly sighed. "It must feel good to be loved. Do you want me to introduce someone to you?" Juyanshan took 2 sips of cold beer and raised an eyebrow at him. "Forget it. I can't handle women from the entertainment industry. How about a nurse?" Qian Yu swallowed the pork belly in her mouth. "There are a lot of single nurses in our hospital." Brother Yi, why don't you get into a relationship? He has high standards. It's because fate hasn't arrived yet. Shin Yu never admitted that he had high standards. 241 You're the one who wants to kiss and dodges. Question Xiao suggested, there's a temple on the mountain behind. Let's go and see when your fate will arrive tomorrow. I'm not going. It won't take long. He turned to look at the couples present. I heard that the marriage tree in the temple is especially effective. How effective? As long as the people who love each other hang 2 marriage ropes on the tree, they will be happy in this life and in the next. Whether it was true or not, everyone who was in love and looked forward to being together wanted to give it a try. I want to go. Lin Jiao moved to the left and rubbed her chin on Pei Jai's shoulder. Pei Jai's gaze softened. He wiped the oil off her lips and pecked it lightly. Okay, we'll go tomorrow morning. Seeing that the others had the same thoughts, Question Xiao elbowed Shin Yi. Don't be a spoilsport. Let's go together. All right, Shin Yi agreed helplessly. He put down his chopsticks and followed them to the quiet garden. Finally, they went to an independent pool. The waiter brought over several swimsuits of different styles and placed them at the long table by the pool for them to choose. Light shadows flashed across the sparkling pool, and the sound of footsteps was drowned out by the sound of insects. Pei Jai and the others, who were the first to change into swimming trunks, jumped into the cool water, causing water to splash everywhere. They swam back and forth twice in the competition. When Lin Jiao saw Pei Jai swimming back, she sat at the poolside, looking at him with a charming smile. That pair of straight and fair legs dangled, making Pei Jai speed up and stop at her feet. Wifey. Pei Jai brushed his wet hair back, and water droplets slid down his eyebrows. Kiss me. His sexy Adam's apple bobbed. Lin Jiao climbed onto his neck and jumped into the pool uncontrollably. She tilted her head slightly and kissed his Adam's apple. Pei Jai tightened his grip on her. He looked at the person in his arms, his eyes darkening visibly. Before she could finish kissing, he retreated. What do you mean? Lin Jiao pouted and glared at him in dissatisfaction. You're the one who wants to be kissed and you are also the one who avoids my kiss. I don't want you to only kiss my Adam's apple. He pulled her to the bottom of the pool and covered her red lips with his. His hot palm was pressed against her back, burning Lin Jiao's skin, making her feel numb. She hugged his head and floated out of the pool. At a glance, she saw Ju Yanshan and Qian Yu kissing by the wall. Suddenly, she thought of what Qian Yu had taught her about flirting and smiled slyly. What are you smiling at? Pei Jai tucked her long hair behind her ear. I'm not smiling. His hoarse voice made Lin Jiao's ears itch. She leaned close to his chest again, her eyes reflecting the light. Hubby, it hurts. What happened? He gently touched the spot she was pointing at, his eyes filled with worry. Did you hit something? Yes. Lin Jiao leaned close to his neck, breathing heavily. I was hit when I jumped in the pool just now. Did you hit yourself on the elbow? Not my elbow. Then where? Pei Jai vaguely felt that something was wrong. 242 Stick at the bottom of the pool. Lin Jiao pursed her lips. A stick. Her voice was as soft as a kitten's. The hotel is really careless. There's a stick at the bottom of the pool. Yes, go down and look for it if you don't believe me. There were LED lights hanging from the trees near the pool, but the bottom of the pool could not be seen clearly. Pei Jai let go of her waist. Just as he was about to get to the bottom of the pool, a sly smile flashed across his face. He turned around and pulled her into his arms. He tickled her and gritted his teeth. Did you do it on purpose? No. Lin Jiao pushed his shoulder and laughed until tears were about to fall. I'm already injured, but you're still tickling me. You little liar. I'm not lying to you. You still won't admit it. Huh? Pei Jai stared at that beautiful face and kept tickling her. His deep eyes were filled with danger. Lin Jiao climbed onto his neck and begged him to stop tickling her. I admit it. She kissed the tip of his nose and leaned close to his slightly cold lips. Hubby, I was wrong. Pei Jai was about to teach her a lesson when Lin Jiao slipped away. He looked up and waited for her to swim for a while before following her unhurriedly, like a hunter playing a game with his prey. Lin Jiao, who could not outswim him, was grabbed by the ankle. She did not even have a chance to struggle. She met that pair of half-smiling eyes and her heart skipped a beat. She pounced on him. She looked around to make sure that they did not see what he was doing before shaking her head in embarrassment. I didn't run. Then why are you swimming over to this side? Drink juice. Pei Jai raised his chin to the right, indicating for her to see the juice tray on the opposite side. In an instant, Lin Jiao returned even redder. I want to swim 2 laps before going to drink the juice. Lin Jiao pouted and kissed him. Hubby, can you carry me over there? She tried to distract him with a kiss to make him forget that she had just run away. I'll deal with you tonight. Pei Jai bit her lower lip fiercely and let her off for the time being. He carried her to the tray and handed her a glass filled with orange juice. He leaned against the wall to rest. Lin Jiao took 2 sips of orange juice and looked at Jiang Yi and Pei Yulin, who were playing in the pool. She accidentally saw the whip mark on Jiang Yi's back and subconsciously frowned, but when they looked over, she immediately looked away. Jiao, aren't you going to swim anymore? Pei Yulin and Jiang Yi approached them and chose their favorite drinks from the tray. I'm tired. She tied her ponytail again, her fair fingertips intertwined with her black hair. Where are the others? I think they went to the washroom. Come up and sit. Pei Jai felt the temperature drop. Even the evening breeze was cold. He took a few towels from the beach chair and handed them to them one by one. Do you guys want to have a drink? Where are we going to drink? A bar. The group went to the changing room and waited for Tangni and the others to come out before heading to the hotel lobby. The bar was on the 6th floor of the hotel. The antique renovation style gave people the feeling that they were in a dynasty. In a cubicle separated by a bead curtain, 2 oil lamps were placed on a mahogany table. As the bead curtain swayed, it reflected mottled light and shadow. 243 Marriage Tree. They scooped out the fermented wine from the wine jar and clinked bowls together. The wine that spilled out of the bowl landed on the table and was covered by the light of the oil lamp. The sound of dice colliding and music intertwined. The bead curtain swayed with the cold air, and the refracted light landed on everyone's smiles. The smell of alcohol became stronger and stronger. Pei Yulin, who was drunk, leaned against Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi, stop swaying. Jiang Yi, who did not move at all, was confused. I'm going to ignore you if you keep swaying. She grabbed his ear fiercely. Answer me. Answer you what? I asked you if you wanted to kiss me. I do. Jiang Yi leaned over and touched her lips. He fed Pei Yulin 2 sips of water and patted her back gently. Are you sleepy? Let's go upstairs and rest. I'm not sleepy, she muttered. In just a few breaths, she closed her eyes in his arms. Seeing that she was gradually falling asleep, Lin Jiao, who was sitting opposite her, yawned and felt sleepy too. She looked sideways at Pei Jai. What time is it? 1:15. Seeing that they were almost done drinking, Pei Jai put down the wine bowl and led her out. The smell of alcohol dissipated with their departure, but laughter drifted from the bar to the top floor. Doors closed one after another. The bright moon illuminated the corridor with cold lights, adding a peaceful vibe to the quiet night. An environment that was quiet enough could easily lure people into a dream. When the lights went out one after another, the thick darkness of the night quickly enveloped the villa, causing the entire ground to fall into a deep slumber. The first ray of sunlight passed through the clouds and spread into the forest, urging the insects and birds to start a new chapter. When Lin Jiao heard the song's sweet sensation, she knew without thinking that Chu Yoju had already woken up. She held the toothbrush and walked to the balcony. As expected, she saw Chu Yoju stretching. Is this the only song on your song list? Of course not. He hummed along and swiped the song list on the screen. What do you want to hear? I'll play it for you. Paris in the Rain. Paris in the Rain? Lin Jiao smiled. Yes. She went into the bathroom to rinse her mouth and came out with Pei Jai. Hubby, have you heard of it? I have. Pei Jai put his arm around her soft waist from behind and rested his chin on the top of her head. They looked at the long mountain range and listened to the gentle voice of a male singer. Chu Yoju, who was next door, followed suit. He hugged Tangni, who had changed her clothes, and admired the scenery in the distance. When the last line was sung, he held her flushed face and kissed her under the warm sun. They're watching us. Tang Ni's eyes were glistening as she leaned against his chest shyly. Seeing this, Chu Yoju wanted to bully her even more. He leaned against the railing and asked in a hoarse voice, Ni, don't you want me to kiss you? Yes, I do. Then close your eyes. Doves don't even show love so early in the morning as you. Shao held a cigarette in his mouth and watched the two of them kiss. He did not forget to take a photo to commemorate it. Hearing the voice, Tangmi was embarrassed and hid in Chu Yoju's arms. If you still want to see it, we can continue. Chuyeju turned off the music that was still playing and a smug smile flashed across his eyes. I don't have that hobby. Xiao sent him the photo and stubbed out his cigarette. He packed up and walked out. He met up with Shenyi and the others at the elevator and slowly went downstairs to eat breakfast. How do we go up the mountain? Qianyu scooped up a spoonful of century egg porridge and put it into her mouth to savor the salty taste. On foot. How long will it take? About half an hour. Xiao finished a dumpling in 2 mouthfuls and looked down. You're not wearing high heels, are you? No, after the last exploration in the forest, they did not even wear dresses when they went on an excursion. Lin Jiao put down her bowl and chopsticks when she was half full. She asked the waiter for a bottle of mosquito repellent and sprayed it on their exposed skin to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes when they went up the mountain. The path up the mountain was not difficult. The stone steps led to the temple. Halfway up, one could see what it looked like. The air in the mountains was fresh. Birds flapped their wings and played on the branches of the trees, accompanying them up. Are you tired? Peijai held Lin Jiao's hand and walked up the last step, stopping opposite the temple. I'm not tired. She lowered her eyes and squatted down to tie his loose shoelace. I can walk for another half an hour. You have such good stamina? Of course. Peijai rubbed the top of her head, his fingertips landing on her cheek. I don't believe you. He whispered into her ear, his lips brushing against her smooth skin, unless you prove it to me tonight. Lin Jiao met his long and narrow eyes and caught an ambiguous meaning. She suddenly realized something and pinched his waist with her fair fingers. Don't even think about it. Hurry up. Xiao, who had one foot in the doorway of the temple, turned around and called out to them. After being interrupted by him, Peijai stopped teasing the kitten and slowly walked into the temple. Although the temple was small, it was filled with incense. They took out the cash they had prepared in advance and put it into the charity box at the door. After paying their respects to the 3 Buddha statues, Xiao and Shenyi went to ask the monk for a fortune-telling. The remaining 2 couples went to the backyard. The marriage tree was especially eye-catching. Under the shade of the greenery, countless wooden tablets tied with red silk hung on the branches, fluttering with the breeze. At this moment, not many visitors were around. They took a wooden tablet from the monk and leaned on the table to write down their names. How do we hang this? Chuyeju looked around the marriage tree but could not find the stairs. Simple. Ju Yinshan squatted down in front of Qianyu. You, sit on my shoulder. All right. Qianyu placed her right leg on his shoulder and raised her other leg. Stand up slowly. 244 Micah wants to be sniffed. Ju Yinshan straightened his knees and slowed down his pace to approach the marriage tree, looking for branches with less red silk. As they looked around, Lin Jiao placed her legs on Peijai's shoulder and pointed to the right. There's less red silk over there. Jiangyi and Chuyeju followed him. The women sitting on their shoulders reached out to tie the red silk on the branch and listened to the faint sound of wooden tablets colliding. Sunlight poured through the leaves on the ground like starlights. My feet are numb. Pei Yulan felt a numbness like an ant biting her and frowned slightly. Jiangyi immediately squatted down. Come down first. When the softness on his shoulder disappeared, he carried her to sit on the stone bench and massaged her feet gently. When Xingyi and Xiao, who came from the front yard, saw her frowning in pain, they asked with concern, "Did you sprain your ankle?" No. Pei Yulan felt the numbness disappear from her ankle and gradually heaved a sigh of relief. How's fortune-telling going? It's said that we'll find our love this year. Xiao placed a hand on Xingyi's shoulder. And it is the right kind of love. Not bad. Chuyeju congratulated them in advance. He smiled and teased. Brother Yi's 29 years of being single is finally coming to an end. It hasn't even begun yet. Xingyi didn't know if he should believe the fortune-teller or not, so he didn't have too much hope. There are still 4 months left for this year. Ju Yinshan handed them a cigarette. Don't be anxious. How can you tell that I'm anxious? From your face. Xingyi was speechless, and he did not want to discuss this further. The laughter and chatter filled the air as they walked down the mountain path, leaving the quiet mountain behind. On Sunday morning, they left the summer villa. When they returned to Red Maple Forest, Lin Jiao lay on the sofa and watched a video. Wifey, what are you watching? Cat sniffing video. Peijai took off his watch. How do you sniff a cat? You've never seen a video of a cat sniffing? No, his well-defined hand landed on her slender waist and wrapped around her. Play it again for me to see. A cat meow sounded again. Lin Jiao watched the cat sniffing process with him. She pointed at the screen. People usually sniff the cat from the head, then the face, then the neck and belly. Peijai looked at the person in his arms. He turned off the screen and placed his warm palm on the back of her head. Okay what? Lin Jiao's heart skipped a beat, unable to resist the temptation. She looked away from his abs and turned to pick up the tie on the bedside table. Sure, but you have to be obedient. Guessing what she was going to do next, Peijai smiled with interest. He leaned against the soft pillow and looked at his prey, who thought she could control everything, as she walked step by step towards the trap. 245. Isn't it sweeter than me? Cold air gushed out of the air conditioner, blowing against the grey curtains that were pressed against the floor-to-ceiling window. Lin Jiao, who was in the dominant position, suddenly felt excited. She did not know the consequences at all. She touched that godlike face and smiled smugly. Hubby. She touched his thin lips and watched as the corners of his eyes turned red. Do you want to eat peaches? Peijai gulped. Yes. Then give me a minute. She ran barefoot to the kitchen and took out a peach from the fridge. The pink peach was the size of her palm. As soon as she brought it to her nose, she could smell the sweet fragrance. Lin Jiao bit off a piece of it and slowly brought it to his lips, watching him chew and swallow. She smiled. Is it sweeter than me? You're the sweetest. Peijai stared at her sparkling lips, his voice a little hoarse. He was not in the mood to admire her eating peaches. With a twist of his wrist, he broke free from the restraints and grabbed her slender waist tightly. Lin Jiao was caught off guard by his sudden action. Before she could react, the world spun and the peach in her hand accidentally fell to the ground. Half a peach lay quietly in the shadow of the sun, not picked up until dusk fell. Similar things happened frequently in the following days. Lin Jiao, who had been fooled several times, decided to teach him a lesson. She returned to the Lin family a week before the wedding. No matter how he coaxed her, she refused to sleep with him. Honey, Peijai video called her every night. I miss you so much. His voice was filled with longing, like a rooted vine that wrapped around Lin Jiao's heart. Didn't we just meet this afternoon? She lay on the bed and stroked his eyebrows through the screen. It's different. His gaze moved down to her fair collarbone. I can't sleep well without you. Try drinking a glass of milk before going to bed. It's useless even if I drink 2 glasses. Lin Jiao pursed her lips. Then come over now. It had been nearly 5 days since she last lay in his arms. She really missed him. Honey, you're the best. Peijai kissed the camera. He rushed to the Lin family and caught the person who jumped into his arms. Are they asleep? Yes. Lin Jiao hung on him like an octopus and let him carry her upstairs. Why aren't you wearing a sweater? Aren't you cold? I'm not cold. Peijai came in a hurry. He was only wearing loungewear under his coat. However, he could not feel the coldness. He only wanted to hug his wife to sleep. His hand brushed past Lin Jiao's skin, and her heart skipped a beat. She listened to the sound of the door being locked. Before she could say a word, he kissed her passionately. Hubby. She fell onto the bed and leaned back. I have to wear a wedding dress the day after tomorrow. Peijai naturally understood what she meant. On the 15th of October, the guests attending the wedding went to Rose Manor to congratulate the newlywed. The beautiful roses bloomed in the most beautiful manner, and the fragrance of flowers filled the air. Shenyi and Juyinshan stood in front of the door and smiled at the guests. Occasionally, they would exchange a few pleasantries before getting the waiter to lead them to their seats. President Pei is too influential. Juyinshan looked around and lowered his voice. 3 politicians are here so far. More than that. Shenyi put down the champagne glass and pointed at the middle-aged man and woman sitting in the second row. They're colleagues with my father. Their daughter is not bad. Juyinshan instantly changed the topic. Are you interested? No. What about the one on the right in the third row? She's not my type. Shenyi retracted his gaze and asked Chuyoju to come over. I'm going to the washroom. He raised his wrist to glance at the watch. Before he could take 2 steps forward, a figure bumped into him. I'm sorry. 11 Wen looked up and blushed when she saw that handsome face. I didn't mean to. The moment she looked over, Shenyi felt like a stone had been thrown into his calm heart, causing a ripple to spread uncontrollably. He calmed himself down. Are you okay? I sprained my ankle. 11 Wen endured the pain, her clear eyes slightly red. Can I see it? Yes. She lowered her eyes and looked at the man squatting in front of her. Sorry to trouble you. It's fine. Shen Yu placed his hand on her ankle. Put your hand on my shoulder and raise your left foot. 11 Wen did as she was told. She could feel the warmth of his palm on her ankle and the heart was in a mess. Is it serious? Her palms were covered in sweat, and she almost lost her balance. Shen Yu quickly helped her up. It's fine. He slowly stood up. You'll be fine after applying ointment for 2 days. 246 Wedding. 11 Wen asked, apply what ointment? She glanced at him quickly. Her heart was beating so fast that it hurt her eardrums and her thoughts were in a mess. I'll show you the picture. Shen Yu swiped open his phone and asked her to add him on WeChat. Seeing her add him on WeChat, he was secretly joyful. Which row do you sit in? I'll help you over. Second row on the left. She smelled the faint smell of tobacco on him and her heart was pounding. Shen Yu wanted nothing more than to make this journey longer. Unfortunately, the journey would end no matter how long it was. He stopped in front of her seat and asked, did you come alone? 11 Wen sat down unhurriedly. No, she pointed at the couple talking to Pei Chisheng. My parents are over there. Brother Yi, Chuyaju, who suddenly appeared, grabbed his arm. The wedding is about to begin. As the best man, they were about to go on stage. In order to prepare, Shen Yu did not talk to 11 Wen much and walked to the back. It was almost 11 o'clock when the wedding march started. The invited guests sat down one after another and stopped chatting as they looked at the stage surrounded by white roses. They waited quietly for the groom to walk up to the stage. Pei Jai was wearing a high-end suit. His white shirt was ironed to the point of no creases and buttoned to the top. Just by standing there, he attracted the attention of all the guests. He looked straight ahead. When that graceful figure appeared, the aura around him suddenly softened. Bang, bang. The balloons hanging on both sides of the long corridor exploded, and countless rose petals fluttered in the breeze to welcome the bride. The fragrance of flowers spread. Lin Jiao held Lin Hongyuan's arm and stepped onto the long corridor filled with flower petals. Her main wedding was decorated with diamonds and light-colored embroidery. The lines from her swan neck to her waist were smooth and beautiful. She looked like a girl who had walked out of an oil painting. She looked at Pei Jai through the white veil with a smile on her beautiful face, making everything around her seem like a background. Pei Jai went forward to hold his beloved's hand. He rubbed her knuckles, and an indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. He could not hear anything around him. His eyes were filled with the woman he had loved for many years and he had even forgotten to exchange the rings. Kiss, kiss. The best men standing on the right began to cheer, mixed with applause. Lin Jiao, who had her white veil lifted, clenched the bouquet and looked at the face that was magnified in front of her, feeling a little nervous. The moment their lips touched, Pei Jai felt as if a feather had tickled his heart. Even the hand holding the back of her head was trembling. Wifey. He pressed his forehead against hers and whispered in a voice only she could hear, I love you. His words sounded like mellow wine, making her intoxicated. I love you too. She kissed him on the lips again and listened to the blessings in her ear. He held her waist and did not hesitate to release his love. Amidst their intertwined breaths, he could not bear to leave. At this moment, he thought of that summer. Under the bright moonlight, she bumped into his arms and started their story. He clearly remembered a sentence he saw in the book she was reading one evening. I yearn for someone to love me fiercely until death and understand that love is as powerful as death. He thought that he would spend the rest of his life proving it. He would love her fiercely until his death.